The following video may not be for Batman v Superman haters. The following is my opinions. It's kind of funny, for haters out there, for a film you really hate, you can't stop talking about it. Anyway, here's a video. Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez. You're in a special episode of PCDC in which I talk about anything and everything DC Comics. Today we're going to be having a special episode. I need to vent out something out of my system, and it's the backlash over Batman v Superman. I'm going to be talking about the backlash the film has received. And a lot of it's warranted, and a lot of it is really not. This is going to be a little bit ad-libbed. I'm going to kind of just go on spur in the moment, non-script, but I think some of the backlash is very unnecessary. Now, I'm not saying it's the best film ever made. It's not the best comic book film. It's not the best film of the year. I just do not think it deserves as much hate as it's getting. And this video is not going to be just about that. It's really going to be about my opinions on the climate of fans versus critics, and more so, criticism among individuals and people's opinions, and respecting other people's opinions and enjoyment of other films. Batman v Superman has to be probably the most polarizing film I've seen this year, and one of the most polarizing films I've seen in this century. There's just so many people who either love it, I like it, meh, or just really hate it. And I don't mind the hate. People are entitled to their own opinions. This film is not for everybody. Now, I'm not one of those pro-DC bashing Marvel, pro-Marvel bashing DC. I'm mainly a DC Comics fan, but I like all comics and I like all superheroes and stories. I love all films. And I think you should review and watch one under certain genres without comparing it. And the backlash that is getting to me is among individuals and as far as media. And I don't know where it started, really. I mean, I could understand some of the criticisms, but just nitpicking for the hell of nitpicking. By nitpicking, I mean like saying, oh, Batman v Superman is a stinker. It's a piece of shit film because it's not fun and doesn't have jokes like Marvel. It's not rainbows and marshmallows everywhere. And it's too dark. There's too much violence. Just stuff like that is a little annoying. That'd be like me complaining about a Marvel film for being too comedic with a whole bunch of jokes and not being serious. Even though you do get serious moments. And I just feel like that's a ridiculous argument. That's nitpicking. I mean, that'd be like saying that, oh man, you know what? Schindler's List was a really horrible film. I was expecting to be a lot funnier. Or The English Patient. Or going to Airplane saying, oh my god, Airplane was just horrible. It was almost like a parody. It was no way near the film Airport was a couple of years earlier. Just stuff like that is just ridiculous, where you go into a film, you nitpick it, and you don't really respect the genre. And I feel like people are going into that expecting something more. Now, there's some fans and some people who are disappointed by the film, and that I understand. But me personally, I like the film. I even like the theatrical. And not as much anymore after seeing the unrated, but I did like the theatrical at the time. But I did not think it deserved a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. And yes, I know how Rotten Tomatoes work. Rotten Tomatoes is pretty much an aggregator where it's a consensus of critics and fans' reviews that are submitted. And it's pretty much a percentage out of all those reviews. And I understand that, but I feel like that's kind of excessive. Now, the audience score has it at 65%. Now, that I can kind of see. I really can agree with that. But 27, you're telling me that Sharknado's The majority of the Sharknado films are better. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Superman Returns, Green Lantern is just right under there. You're telling me that Batman v Superman's closer to Green Lantern? And then Thor the Dark World and Age of Ultron having higher scores? I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I'd rather watch Ben Affleck be mopey towards Superman instead of seeing Thor fight a Power Ranger villain in the Dark World. But it's just crazy, and I don't know where this hate started. It's one of those films where it's been draining me lately because I enjoy it, but I enjoy a whole bunch of films. I'm not saying it's the best film ever. It's not even my favorite superhero film, and I'll get to that later, but like, it's one of those things where this is one of those films where if you love it, you have to constantly defend it. And I'm not trying to make people love the film. I don't want that at all. Some people are going to already make up their minds and not like a film. I say go see the film. Don't listen to other fans or people. Don't listen to critics. Go in there and make up your own damn mind. That's what I say. But, you know, sometimes there's just people who just want to hate this film. And the hate is just unbearable. I even has like one of my friends comment. And it's just like, god-awful movie. Didn't say why, just said god-awful movie on a review. And it was just my spoiler talking when I enjoy the movie. Which I don't mind. People are entitled to their own opinions. Freedom of speech. That's the beauty of our nation. But you know what? It's crazy how people have to spread hate around for a film. You have to assimilate yourself to other people's views and opinions. And I don't like that. And it goes both ways with people being forced to like a film or forced to hate a film. Films are subjective for a reason, and that's the beauty of cinema, is that we can all have different opinions and views and favorite moments and not so favorite moments of films. We all are different, all have different opinions and different views, and I don't see why we should be punished for that. Ghostbusters. The new remake of Ghostbusters had a higher score among people, and that's another thing that's just ridiculous. I didn't think it was better. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I may be wrong. I don't think it would be better than Batman Superman. And second of all, I don't like the argument. It's going to be a little bit of a tangent here. I don't like the argument that people hate it because there's women. No, I'm telling you, if there was 5 guys there, people would have hated it because it doesn't have any of the charm or great storytelling like the original. It's all just trashy jokes. That's all it is. And the story is just a rehash of the first one. I mean, they even shoot the logo in the dick. What the hell? That's just trash. If it was 5 guys, they still would have hated as much. It's a story in that. But no, you have to like it. Critics love it, so you have to be forced to like it. Oh, you don't like it? Well, you must be a misogynistic dick. And pro-feminist movement. I don't like that. No, you should have merits of a character and story. People shouldn't be forced to love or hate a film. And the reason why I brought Ghostbusters up, I know that's tangent, off topic. It's a flip side of Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman comes out and the media wants you to hate it. It flopped. It did this. They may not make another DC film. Wow, it may not have made $1 billion, but I can tell you one thing. It made over $800 million worldwide. And that's pretty damn good considering its budget. Sure, they might have to pay some stuff back, but you know what? That's still $800 million worldwide. So clearly, some individuals like the film around the world. It's just crazy where a film has to be expected to do that much. I mean, back then, it wasn't just based on box office or the weekend. And then they're talking about them not making any more films. Well, guess what? They announced a solo Batman film, another solo Superman film, and then Justice League trailer and Wonder Woman. They're still going to make the films. And Warner Brothers, I respect Warner Brothers because they said, we're not going to back down. We still made a profit out of this. It wasn't a complete flop. And I don't like that. And some of that's gone to Suicide Squad, but it's just the hate is unbearable. Like, I've never seen a film so polarizing. And I think it's a current statement of our society today in movies, and that's what I want to delve into right now. I need a break. I think it's the internet, social media, and everybody wanting your opinion. It's a base level thing where, oh, you don't like my movie? You hate it. You're not popular. Or like, you don't hate this movie? What's wrong with you? You have to hate this movie. And it's an opinion that has to be forced. You have to assimilate to that. And why should you? Individuals have the right to their own opinions, and it's just kind of getting unbearable at this point. And then even on DC fans for taking down Rotten Tomatoes, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's probably the most ridiculous thing of 2016 besides Donald Trump running for president. Like, seriously, this year has just been a clusterfuck and a half. But That's crazy. And then also, I think fans have done it. Cinematic fans, people who are kind of everyday moviegoers but don't really love film or the comics. Because you look at comic book readers, and I go to comic book shops still and stuff, and you don't see people really hating on Marvel or DC. They like comics. Fans can talk about stuff, and it's nice to debate, even though there's stuff you liked or didn't like on both sides of the cinematic universes with Marvel and DC. There's still stuff you could talk about, and it'd be okay. But like this year, it's just been hate, hate, hate. And it kind of started with Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight trilogy, well received. Superman Returns, well received critically. But it didn't have a sequel for some reason. And it's kind of strange how this film's considered a flop. Critics didn't like it. Well, really? Well, it's going to have a sequel where Superman Returns didn't. So what does that say, really? It just depends. In my personal opinion, I thought Superman Returns was a better film. But I thought Man of Steel was a better Superman film. And Man of Steel also got very polarizing reviews. Even had a roommate who's just like, that movie was bullshit. And I can agree with that to some degree. I personally enjoyed the movie, even with its flaws. I liked it better than Superman 3 and 4, and it was a lot more exciting than Superman Returns, so on that merit, I really liked it. Some of the stuff they changed was a little bit, I didn't like as much with Jonathan Kent, but it was still an interesting film, and it really surprised me. So I was anxious to see where they went with Batman v Superman. And yeah, I think what might have hurt this film too was the studio cutting out a lot of the stuff, because it's been much better received, kind of like Zack Snyder's Watchmen. With the Ultimate Edition. And Watchmen, I actually felt like I was the only person who really loved that film when it first came out. I mean, everybody hated Watchmen. Hated it. I was like the only person that loved it. I felt like there was something deeply wrong with me. And now people are finally embracing that as a cinematic masterpiece, as one of the best graphic novel adaptations in cinema. And that's just amazing. And sometimes it's just stupid nitpicking. I remember when Watchmen came out, they're like, oh, it's too violent, and I didn't like this. I'm like, what the fuck did you expect? It's rated R. My brother took his stepson and his fiance, his girlfriend, who's now his wife, and they saw Watchmen. They're complaining about the content for their son, and I'm like, he's under 13, and it's rated R. What did you expect? I mean, that'd be like you complaining about the beginning of RoboCop and seeing Murphy getting his arms blowing off. It's just ridiculous. It's just stuff like that. And then the Batman doesn't kill thing, I can kind of agree with, but you know what? Michael Keaton and Christian Bale did it. But the hate's just crazy. And again, it's base level stuff, and I'm trying to understand where audiences got like this. It started with Dark Knight Rises a bit with plot holes and stuff, even though now that's actually being looked at as a really great film, which it is. And then Man of Steel, cities blowing up, Superman killing. Even though Christopher Reeve did in Superman 2, in both versions of Richard Lester and Richard Donner. But Batman v Superman was just, you either really love it or really hate it. And somewhere in the middle. I'm kind of like in the middle to liking it, almost loving it. I can see where Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, might have turned people off. I kind of wish they told him to dial it down a notch. But the nitpicking, people hating it for no reason. Another example is my brother. I visited, and I was showing like his little baby girl like a Wonder Woman clip just so it'd be like a female hero, and I thought it'd be cool. And he was just like, oh, great, you saved us 3 hours of shit for this. And he didn't see the film, and I was just like, well, maybe you should see the film. And he really hated both versions of the film, and he didn't really make it through all the way. Stopped at the first 30 minutes, which if you stop at the beginning, I was like, okay. But I feel like it's people not giving it a chance, and I feel like this opinion of the internet and media forces people to hate a film. You have to have a certain opinion. And be what you will, you can go ahead and bitch about a film, but I don't like it where you really enjoy a film and people constantly hate it. You're kind of tarnished for loving this film, even though everybody else hates it. And I get to something else. This whole Marvel DC thing needs to stop. This has been a great year for comic book films, and I've actually loved all the comic book films that have come out so far. Speaking of opinions, I actually don't like Suicide Squad as much as others did, but it's still good. I want to see how Doctor Strange is. And I liked Captain America, and that's also an unpopular opinion. You have to choose Batman v Superman or Captain America Civil War, and I'm like, I like both of them quite the same. And if you look at the plot structure, take the characters away, look at the plot structure, they're both very similar films. Even have a Capitol or building explosion of some sort. U.S. Capitol building explosion. Someone with royalty coming in to help them. Wonder Woman, Black Panther. Just stuff like that's very similar. And I really love both films. They both had a different way of presenting heroes fighting with one another. One did it in a more comic book way, the other one did it more grounded in reality. And I love both methods. We have very ambitious superhero films that are getting more complex and thinking deeper and becoming smarter with its growing audience. You had this audience like myself and others who grew up with the X-Men, and they were fun. Adults could watch them too, but now they're getting so complex now as the audience begins to mature, and I really like the direction it's going in. But I got some flack for that, for liking both films. And I'm like, why can't I like both films? Why do I have to choose one or the other? I love both of them. I enjoyed Batman just a little bit more. I might be biased there, but that doesn't mean I don't think Captain America is a better film. They're both great, and you have to like one or the other, and I don't like that. Why should audiences choose one or the other? And the media has a lot to blame with that. It's so much nitpicking and just hatred going on. And I'm just trying to understand it right now. It's just crazy. And I'm going to be on here. I'm going to get any flack for liking both movies. I didn't think Captain America Civil War was the best superhero movie. I didn't think Batman Superman was. So far this year, the best superhero film was Deadpool. February, Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, that's still my favorite comic book movie this year over Civil War and Dawn of Justice. But I digress. But I think it's just this base level thing. Now, I'm not saying you should go hate on another film. I just feel like in this time, it's kind of idiotic to basically hate a film. Oh, this film sucks. You have to hate it. What? This film sucks? Why are you loving it? Or if this film's horrible. Oh, look. Here's Ghostbusters. Not as great as the original, but there's women. You have to love it. And I'm like, why? I'm judging it based on the story and that. And so far, it's not very great, even if it had men in it. So why should I love a film that's crap? The media is trying to switch people's opinions on certain stuff instead of letting them think for themselves. And critics and fans, there's a disconnect. And I know some critics are fans as well, but here's one thing that critics need to be reminded of, as well as other individuals who are basically kind of like critics, who feel like they think they're critics. People have different opinions, different views, and love different things. Respect that. I feel like now it's so much, it feels like you're going to church, like the Catholic Church, or if you go to another religion, a Protestant, and they just shit talk the other religion. That's pretty much what it's like with films now and superhero genres with Marvel and DC, and I'm like, what? This is a great time we're living in to have both, have so many films, and we might get Image Comics soon and stuff like that, and the nitpicking and kind of fanboyism, flame wars is really affecting both of this from happening. We might not have more in the future because of this. It's just getting to a ridiculous level, and here's my main idea I want to take away from this. Formulate your own opinions, don't listen to the hate, but with all this hatred, respect other people's opinions and don't ruin their enjoyment. There may be some people who like a film you may not like, but don't ruin it for them. How would you feel if you liked a movie and somebody just started nitpicking the living shit out of it and just hating it constantly and constantly? They may say they not like it, present some issues, and be like, okay, whatever, shake hands, save face. But constantly on and on and on dogging it is exhausting. I mean, I like Batman v Superman. Hell, I have the soundtrack. I have the soundtrack to Man of Steel. I have the Dark Knight trilogy, and I even have Man of Steel and Batman v Superman on Blu-ray. Yeah, I love freaking Superman and Batman, and I don't know if it's some of the stuff with Ben Affleck, the way it's written. Sure, it was edited a bit odd. The Ultimate Edition was much better, but I feel like it's just constantly on DC, DC, DC. And even in the media with Suicide Squad, oh, Suicide Squad's gonna flop, they didn't make that much money. Oh, really? Well, it beat Guardians of the Galaxy's August record and was #1 at the box office for 3 weeks. Oh, this movie had a drop. Batman Superman also had a drop, and they're like 68%'s bad. Wow, did you know that Harry Potter had a 72% drop and it was only at this rate? This is where Batman v Superman was, and this is a top second week box office drops. You could see Batman v Superman was nowhere near some of the other films, and yet was considered a flop of colossal proportions. Movies drop eventually. They don't always keep on making more and more, and 800 million is quite a lot of money. It's not a billion, but what does need to be a billion? Respect people's opinions. That's all I'm asking in this short little vlog. I just need to vent this out. Yeah, Independence Day Resurgence even had a higher score. You tell me Independence Day Resurgence was better than that? Now, I know it's an opinion, so yeah. But, that's just my opinion so far on the film. My throat hurts. Long rambling, but I'm just asking people to respect people's opinions, okay? And BVS may be hated by individuals, but it's not the worst film ever. BVS is still a good film, I feel, and I can see where it can go, okay? People have said that it's like liquid stool and just fecal matter and just a horrible film. All gloom, no fun, not like Marvel. Really? Okay, we can go to Ben Affleck or we can go back to George Clooney and Bat Nipples. Do you really want to go back to Bat Nipples? I don't. I saw that film as a kid and even I knew something was wrong with it. But that's just my opinion. There may be some people out there who love George Clooney and his Bat Nipples. It's a beauty about cinema. It's subjective. Art is subjective. Cinema is subjective. People are entitled to their own opinions. So I just ask people to respect that, okay? I need to get this out. It feels kind of liberating, actually. It's very emotional, like getting my emotions out and everything that's just bottled in. You shouldn't force anybody to love a film you love or hate a film you hate. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I don't know where it started. A lot of the DC and Marvel fanboys have a lot of flame wars, but the Marvel fanboys are, I'm going to say, they're kind of dicks. My brother's like one of them who's like constantly just shitting on everything DC. And I don't mind that, but I don't go and constantly crap on everything Marvel. I don't analyze every single little thing about the movie. There's some things that I enjoy about them. They're all different films. And that's something, the Marvel films cater to the Marvel fanboys. And the DC films are kind of like for DC fans. And now there's an argument about it not being for general audiences. That could be true to a degree, but my niece doesn't read any comics or anything, and she loved Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition. So I don't know. Films, again, are subjective. Opinions are subjective. They're in the eye of the beholder, so to speak. And that's the beauty about cinema, is that it's all subjective. People are entitled to their own opinions. And you don't know what this film might inspire in future generations or how it might be regarded over the course of time. It may be remembered as something very different and be respected for being different compared to the other superhero films that kind of followed a formulaic feel to it. It may be better in the future. Who knows? I know Watchmen was a lot better now than it was back then. Blade Runner. Wizard of Oz is better received later on than it was at first with critics. Citizen Kane, regarded as one of the best films ever made, was just totally bashed and chewed apart by critics when it first came out. So you just never know with something over the course of time, and I guess that we'll have to tell. The Ultimate Edition came out and people's opinions about it were better, but yeah. I just wanted to get that out, and just, it's a base level thing again. I don't know if it's like social media, but everybody becoming a critic and just nitpicking everything. It'd be like me nitpicking a film you loved to hell and back. Just nitpicking the living shit out of it. And how would you feel about that? And mainly, my main concern is, it's not about just this film. It's about our movie viewing climate, our film viewing climate as a society. We need to respect each other's opinions, but also not ruin the enjoyment that other people have in films that you may love, not love, like, not like, hate, or not hate. Just respect people's opinions. Let them enjoy films. It'd be like other people constantly going on you on a film you like. Why? You ruin their enjoyment. Film is a place to escape in the world while also being a commentary on society from time to time again. So yeah. That's just my views of it. I reviewed Batman v Superman already, so if you want to see my initial thoughts, they're here on my Dark Knight of Steel channel, and as well as my spoilerific Ultimate Edition review on my Dark Knight of Steel channel. And on the Frederick Lopez channel, I have a theatrical spoiler review. And in the future, I may have an in-depth analysis of the film. But before that, in the coming weeks, check out my premiere episode of Rom-Com, romantic commentary on romantic comedies, and it's going to be over Sweet Home Alabama. And then 2 new episodes of The Final Cut, in which I'll review Silent Hill and American Psycho, as well as 2 extra action-reaction episodes in which I'll talk about Terminator 2 Judgment Day and The Matrix. So yeah, This is a long-winded video. I'm sorry, guys, but I kind of rambled and my emotions let out. But again, it feels liberating. Just respect people's opinions. And if you like or not like a film, just keep to yourself, okay? Just formulate your own opinion. Don't listen to what anybody else says. You don't do that to anything else in life. So you shouldn't do it for a film. You shouldn't have to assimilate into a consensus. You shouldn't have to be like the Borg. Resistance is futile. You must join us. You must hate this film, not like this film, not like these both films, whatever. Make up your own damn mind. And most of all, respect other people's opinions on films. That is the beauty of it. So nobody should be forced to love a film because it has a certain element, or hate a film because it's not regarded as great. It's subjective. I mean, it made over 800 million, so clearly some people liked it. It's not like 5 people saw the film over and over. And, hell, Transformers made a lot of money. Speaking of opinions like, oh, you know, Transformers made a lot of money. I don't like it. It doesn't stop people from watching it. It may not be popular to say, oh, look, Star Wars, The Force Awakens was not that great of a film. It's not that popular to say that. I actually thought it was a rehash of A New Hope, and I actually kind of like the first 6 better. I actually like the first 6 better. A lot better than Force Awakens. Force Awakens was lazy. It's not J.J. Abrams' best film at all. Not popular to say that, but it's just my opinion, and I respect that. I can watch both Star Wars, Force Awakens, and BVS with certain feelings and judgment without going on to people why I love the film or why I hate the film in a certain way. So that's the beauty of cinematic viewing, of filmmaking and films. And I've made some films, and I know how hard it is for people to make films. I put a lot of hard work into them. So respect people's opinions, and don't force them to hate or love a thing that you love or hate, okay? That's just all I want to say. So be good out there. Continue to enjoy the movies you enjoy. Or hate them if you just want to nitpick all day. But who wants to do that? Have some fun and enjoy yourself. Continue watching films you love. Whether it be from like Wayne's World to Citizen Kane to Letters of Iwo Jima or Saving Private Ryan. Annie Hall or Star Wars. Just anything. That's another opinion. I don't know how the hell Annie Hall won Best Picture over Star Wars that year. But, you know, that's the beauty of opinions. Anyway, that's all for this BVS Backlash. I know I had a lot of ramblings, but I just want to talk about our society of modern film viewing society of, like, what's going on now? So just respect people's opinions. Don't force people to feel a certain way about a film. The beauty of film is that we can all feel differently and take our own elements of life out of it. Enjoy, guys.